Something about the rain. I just love it. I don't know if it's absence or whether it's just like, I don't know, peaceful. I think in a tiny house as well, there's an element of coziness. It just feels incredibly cozy, especially when you're upstairs laying in bed and it's raining and you've got the sound of the rain on the roof. It's just the most amazing feeling. It's currently 9:30 though. I think the forecast is for it to rain until around about midday. There's a couple of tents out in the field. Yeah, they must be having a pretty rubbish time. But before I start this video, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody that's sent us a message on YouTube or sent me a message on Instagram asking questions about the tiny house and saying that you're really enjoying the videos that we're making about the tiny house. It's really great to read, and I do try and reply to everybody that's sending me a message. And if you do have any further questions or you just want to drop us a comment or something, then please just send me a message on YouTube or click on my Instagram link, which is in the description, and just send me a DM. I'm always thinking about what kind of video to do at the weekend, so if you do have any suggestions or you'd like us to cover any topics related to the tiny house or to the van, anything in general, then just send us a message and we'll make a note of it, and then hopefully either answer your question or make a video on it if it's quite a common one. I did want to talk about just generally why we decided to move into the tiny house, but I'll go over that with you a little bit later in the day because I've got a few things to do first. I've got to clean the bathroom. I do that every Saturday morning. Sometimes I do it on Fridays if I've got time, but I didn't get time to do it yesterday, so I need to clean the bathroom. And then Joss has got a football match at 11:15, which is in about an hour and a half time, which is going to be fun because it's pouring with rain. With a bit of luck, the match will be postponed and then I won't have to go and stand in the rain. But yeah, haven't heard anything yet, so gonna clean the bathroom and get ready to go and watch Joss play football. I thought I got away with the rain at Joss's football because the first half it was completely dry, but then the second half it was like torrential rain, so I got soaked. I think it's finally stopped raining though, although it was forecast to stop at lunchtime, I think. But as I said earlier this morning, the topic of this week's video is going to be about sort of why we decided to buy a tiny house and live full time in a tiny house, because it's quite, I wouldn't say it's extreme, but it's quite an unusual thing to do, particularly in the UK where tiny houses aren't really so much of a thing. Although saying that, there's quite a lot of people that do live a tiny lifestyle, and I think that's become more apparent since we've been living on a campsite, because there's a lot of people here that live in caravans full time, but then you've also got people that live on canal boats, and then there's a couple of YouTubers that we watch that live in their vans in the UK. So I think that the tiny lifestyle is quite active over here, but the actual tiny house is still kind of in its infancy. It's not really so much of a thing. I think one of the main reasons why we decided to do this, because it's one thing saying that you'd like to do it or researching it and looking into things, but actually taking that step and doing it, there's quite a big difference between the two. But we really wanted to find somewhere that we could call our home, that we owned, and we wanted to get out of the rental market because it was just costing us a lot of money. We couldn't afford to buy a house because houses around here are just absolutely outrageous. I mean, just for a 2-bedroom flat, you're probably looking at £250,000 easily. And I suppose that financially, that was really kind of what did it for us, because not only are we saving money, that doesn't mean that we necessarily have more money to save for like other things. It means that once we get to a certain point when we've paid off the house, it gives us a lot more freedom to explore other things. We wouldn't necessarily need to continue working full time. We could work part-time jobs or less hours and then concentrate on doing other things or pursuing hobbies such as making videos. I would have more time to do that. So I think just living below your means really gives you a lot of freedom, rather than having a huge mortgage over your head for the next 20-30 years and being tied down to a certain income and not really being able to do anything else. I also think it's worth mentioning as well that because the tiny house is a house, it's not a caravan, I'm hoping that it will hold its value much better than the caravan does, because essentially caravans are just built to fall apart. They're not built very well. You're never going to make money on a caravan or get your money back on a caravan, whereas I'm hoping with the house, if and when we decide to sell it, we should hopefully get back what we paid for it. So we're essentially paying for an asset as well. It's not just money down the drain. Even if we just changed our mind in a couple of years and wanted to buy a house, hopefully we'll be able to sell the tiny house and get our money back for it, and then we have enough for a deposit or whatever we decide to do. We certainly don't regret anything about moving into the tiny house. Honestly, I don't think there's really any negatives. I know we did 5 pros and 5 cons, and obviously there are a few cons, mainly compromises such as headroom upstairs. I'm 6 foot tall. I don't think I'd want to be much taller than that because of headroom. I've got about an inch of headroom spare downstairs, and then obviously upstairs there isn't any headroom unless you're about 4 foot tall. We do occasionally bang our heads on the ceiling, I will say that, but I think that's just kind of always going to happen. So beyond the finances of living in the tiny house and the future prospects and giving us a bit more freedom, we're also quite conscious of our impact on the environment as well. And naturally, living in a smaller space, you're going to have a lower impact on the environment. We're not off-grid, we don't have solar panels. I think perhaps one day we would like to go down that road, but initially it's just not really an option for us at the moment. This house isn't designed to be off-grid. The electrical system is very much the same as you get in a conventional house, so to have an off-grid setup capable of powering the house as it is currently, it would have to be quite a big setup, and it's not something that we could really justify at the moment financially. I think that if you live in a normal house, then it's too easy to leave taps running when you brush your teeth or leave lights on, and just be very wasteful. But if you leave your tap on, then your tank's going to run out, then you turn your taps off instinctively, you turn your lights off, because you don't have many of them, I suppose. You don't just leave a light on and forget about it, you can see that you've left the light on. Another big thing about living in such a small space as well is that it actually prevents you from overbuying anything. You can't be that consumerist. You can't go out and just buy new furniture, buy a new coffee table, buy, I don't know, whatever else, because you don't have the space to put it anywhere. And like I was saying in last week's video as well, with food, we don't have space to just store piles of food, so we need to be quite conscious of the food that we're buying as well, and that ultimately leads to producing less waste as well. And I think just as a whole, you have to be a lot more conscious of what you're doing with regards to consumption, because like I was saying, you just don't have the room to keep things. With that in mind, you end up spending less money as well, because you don't just buy unnecessary things because you physically cannot have them. So I think collectively, beyond the house as just a house, it changes your lifestyle in a more positive way. Like I was saying, more freedom, less consumerism. I think for your mental health as well, to feel a big weight off your shoulders with regards to work commitments and things like that, it helps massively. And the thought of being able to perhaps work part-time in a couple of years and focus more on making videos or photography or any hobbies that you might have, I think that's massive, and I think that is definitely something that a lot of people should be looking to do, because let's face it, nobody really likes going to work, and I'm a big advocate of living with less so you can work less. That's kind of my motto. If I can live cheaper, I don't have to work so much, and that's kind of what I like. I really hope you did enjoy this video though. Please leave us a comment or send me a message on Instagram if you have any questions at all about the tiny house. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know. Always open to video suggestions, because there's only so many things I can think of, and my list is starting to run out of things we can make videos about, so please hit us up if you've got any suggestions at all. But that's going to do it for this week, guys. Really hope you enjoyed it. Give it a big thumbs up if you did, and we'll catch you guys next week for another video. I was thinking maybe doing a must-haves video at some point soon, But if the weather's nice, maybe we can go somewhere. Oh, we're also going away in the van in a few weeks' time as well. So looking forward to that. It should be fun. But yeah, until the next one, guys, safe drive, stay alive, have a lovely day, and we'll see you then. Alright, bye bye.